Of all the places Julia Stilwell thought she might be on a September afternoon, less than a year after the accident, this was the last she would have imagined. College. A freshman headed out on a first date. It was too normal. She felt like she'd snuck into the wrong movie. Like any minute, a guy in a little hat would come running up the aisle, shine a flashlight in her eyes, and ask to see her ticket. But here she was, 10 minutes to 2, fixing her hair, getting her shoes on, smiling at her reflection so she could paint blush on her cheeks, going back and forth in her mind about whether to bring a backpack or a purse. It was all the usual stuff girls do before dates, but to Julia, it felt like a test. A set of pictures she had to line up in the right order. Wrong answer sends you back to go. It was a blessing her roommate, Lynette, was in class and not around to witness the chaos of these final preparations. Lynette had dates every weekend and went to all the parties, and Julia was sure this fussing would have seemed amateur to her, like a kid playing with an adult's makeup kit. In the end, Julia decided on a messenger bag. She slung it over her shoulder, flipped the lights off, and left the room. Outside, it was gorgeous, cloudless and warm. The air felt like a shirt just out of the dryer. Julia lived in an off-campus dorm, and though the building was musty, with cinder-block walls and a dull gray carpet that gave off a smell like boiled milk, there was a pretty courtyard out here, a cement bench, a trellis wrapped with vines and bright flowers. She took a long breath, enjoying the weather and her anticipation, perched for a moment on the fragile edge of happiness. Julia was headed to campus, and she decided to take the path through the woods. She could have gone through town, but didn't know whom she'd run into, and whether they'd ask what she was up to. The date with Marcus didn't have to be a secret, but for some reason she wanted to keep it to herself, like a note in her pocket. Before the accident, it would have been different. Julia would have had to tell Danny and Shayna about how Marcus had asked her out, making little jokes to play it down. They wouldn't have let her get away with the secrecy. In high school, when she wasn't practicing the trumpet,